Ben Potter here with Pro Play Games. I just got back from Collinsville, Illinois, and I played in the regional championship there, which was the largest regional championship ever so far. That seems to keep happening. And I got 27th place with a 10-3 record, and I played the Zoroark Lycanroc deck, so I want to show it to you guys so you can check it out and maybe win some cups with it or use it at your next standard regional. All right, so first we have a 4 Zorua line, 4 Zoroark line. Pretty standard. The decision not to include the non-GX Zoroark, the stand-in Zoroark, is just simply because they're already limiting their bench with the Lycanroc. So usually you're not doing enough damage to get a knockout. And if you're not getting a knockout, I don't really think it's worth playing. The next are a 3-3 Lycanroc line. Tackle Rockruff, so huge. Sometimes you can set up 2 shots. Also gives you an out versus Hoopa. Gives you also an out versus Xurkitree, so you can attach with basic fightings. The reason why I still play 3 Lycanrocs instead of just 2 is because I think it's so huge drawing into it on turn 2 that it's definitely worth playing 3 so you can knock out whatever Pokemon on their bench you want. 3 Lele, pretty standard for consistency. Going down to 2 seems like a bad idea. And then my only tech Pokemon is this one Mew. Buzzwole has become huge, and the thing I ran into at last regionals, which was Memphis where I top 8'd, was that Buzzwole did a lot of damage to my deck, and I had very few answers to it. So Mew helps out a ton with that matchup. All right, on to the supporters. 4N, I'm still at 4N. Some people cut one of the N's for another Cynthia. I just figured I'm either playing N like at the beginning of the game, and in the middle of the game I'm playing something like Mallow, or at the end of the game and I want to make sure that I have 4N still so that I can keep using N and put them at low cards. 2 Bridget. That's something I maybe regret from this tournament. I wish I had 3. There's a lot of games where I had the N or Cynthia on turn 1 and I only had 1 or 2 basic Pokemon on the field, and it really cost me. Versus most of the time when I play Bridget on turn 1, I win the game. 2 Guzma. The reason why you're only playing 2 is you got Lycanroc here. But the reason why you still want to play 2 is because there's a lot of times when you can't rely on Lycanroc's ability, or you just want to Guzma something up, and it's still very crucial. And then the last 2 we have is Kukui. Getting that extra 20 damage is so useful in a ton of matchups, and it draws you 2 cards. 2 is definitely still the play. I wouldn't argue with you too hard with you if you went down to 1, but I still like 2 at this moment. And then I have a 1-1 split on Sycamore and Cynthia. The reason why I split them is a lot of times when you're doing either of these, you're Tapu Leleing for it. So now you get a choice. It's nice to be able to shuffle a puzzle back into the deck when you need to, or just draw an extra card if you don't have a puzzle. Mallow, this is the best one-of supporter we have in the deck. So many times I just get the exact 2 cards I need, trade into them, Lycanroc something up, and then take my knockouts. Mallow is so huge. And Acerola. This is one card that I literally never used the entire tournament. I wish I didn't have it. The only time I wanted to use it, it was actually prized. So this is something I'd probably take out for a 3rd Bridget if I did it again. Okay, then we have a standard 4 Ultra Ball, 4 puzzle at a time. You don't want to cut any of these counts. They're just too good of cards. And then I have a 2-2 split on my Floatstone and Choice Band. Back at Memphis, there were a lot of times where I wish I had the 3rd Choice Band. But now the meta has kind of shifted a bit, and that extra 30 with the tool isn't that much of a big deal as it was before, and especially with the puzzles, you can usually find them. But 2 Floatstone is insanely good, especially with the spicy tech I'm going to show you guys in a minute. Still have 2 Field Blower. I could see going up to 3, but I definitely wouldn't go down to 1. Garbodor's been getting bigger and bigger, so is fighting Fury Belt, so that's good to knock off the extra damage there. Enhanced Hammer is still a really big card for me in a lot of matchups. It's nice to be able to enhance a double colorless off of a Gallade and then knock out something else using Bloodthirsty Eyes, and then make them have to draw another double colorless. 1 Rescue Stretcher. I know you have Puzzle, but still, it's great to have that 1 of in there. Sometimes you shuffle 3 back in, sometimes you just grab 1, so you don't need to use Puzzle all the time. And this is the best 1 of item I have in the deck, Multi-Switch. I think if you're not playing Multi-Switch in this deck, your deck is not nearly good enough as it needs to be. I won tons of games because of Multi-Switch, and I even lost a game because Multi-Switch was prized. please play a multi-switch. And then the last is Devour Field. The reason why I have that in there instead of Reverse Valley is simply for the fact of metal. Metal has become way bigger with Ultra Prism, and with Reverse Valley, the damage gets negated by the metal side. And I figure the damage, the extra damage from Dark or Dragon, doesn't really matter in any of the math that I came up with for knocking out any of your Pokemon, so all good there. And then last but not least, we got 4 double colors, don't run anything less, and the 3-2 split on the basic versus the strong. Now, a lot of people advocate for 3 basic fighting and 2 strong, but I found the extra 20 damage has been huge in a lot of my games, and I actually won a lot of games because of the strong energy. I actually lost a game because I had 2 basics on a Rockruff, so instead of taking a knockout with the extra 20 damage, I was 10 damage short, and I lost that game because of that. I know Enhanced Hammer is like kind of still prevalent, but honestly, multi-switch makes up for not having getting hammered a lot of the time, because a double colorless will stick, and you'll still be able to Dangerous Rogue in 1 turn. All right, guys, thanks for checking out my deck. Thank you to my sponsors, Pro Play Games and Ultra Pro. I use Ultra Pros. These are Ultra Pros. They're the best sleeves. And we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.